Adderall, the miracle drug for focus. Or is it just legal speed?
You're getting calls from his teacher. He's impulsive in class.
And his inattention makes focusing on homework tough.
Today, we pull back the curtain on America's favorite study drug. From the kids it was supposed to help, to the college kids who abuse it, to the dark corners where Adderall blurs into meth.
For adults and children who need it, Adderall, other ADHD meds, and the generics can make all the difference in concentrating, multitasking, and lowering overall stress. But today, millions of Americans can't fill their prescriptions amid a nationwide shortage.
How did we get here? And is the risk really worth the reward? Hey guys, really quick before we jump into the video, I just want to say that, believe it or not, more than 90% of you guys watching this video right now aren't subscribed. I want to continue bringing you guys high quality content here on the channel. And to do that, we need your support. I'm not sponsored by any big industry names, and everything we do here on this channel is supported by you guys. So if you subscribe now, my commitment to you is that me and my team will continue doing everything in our power to bring you guys the highest quality content. Thanks for listening. Let's get into it. Adderall. How many of you guys clicked on this video as soon as you saw that pill and title? Comment below and subscribe, by the way. Just saying the name probably triggers a reaction. For some, it's a lifeline. For others, it's a last resort. But how did this little orange pill become such a fixture in backpacks, medicine cabinets, and campus dorms across America? Well, here's the quick story. Adderall was first developed in the mid-1990s, originally marketed for kids who struggle with something called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD for short. Its secret? A powerful blend of amphetamine salts. Basically, stimulants that turbocharge the brain's focus and energy by cranking up dopamine and norepinephrine levels. But almost overnight, Adderall became a phenomenon. Doctors began prescribing it not just for hyperactive kids, but for anyone struggling to sit still, keep up in class, or focus on homework. By 2011, over 6.4 million children in the United States had received an ADHD diagnosis. And the vast majority of them, well, they left the doctor's office with a prescription in hand. But it didn't stop there. Adderall's reach quickly spread. Suddenly, it was everywhere. In elementary schools, in high school backpacks, on college campuses, even in some corporate offices, passed around as the miracle solution for getting more done, staying alert, and pulling all-nighters. On the surface, Adderall looked like the answer to our productivity-obsessed culture. But what most people miss was that this wasn't just a harmless boost. It was a controlled substance, classified by the DEA as a Schedule II drug. That's right alongside other drugs like cocaine and methamphetamine. So, why was Adderall everywhere? Well, it's simple. It filled a demand. In a world that values focus, productivity, and test scores above all else, Adderall promised an edge. But, as we're going to talk about in this video, that edge came with a cost that wasn't always obvious at first glance. Now, by the early 2000s, Adderall was everywhere. It wasn't just prescribed to kids with severe classic ADHD. It started landing in the hands of anyone who had trouble sitting still, focusing, or keeping up in class. But here's the thing. Major medical organizations were already warning about overdiagnosis and overprescription at the time. One review in the Journal of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry called out the disturbing trend. ADHD diagnosis rates were rising rapidly, and so were prescriptions for stimulant drugs like Adderall, often without first trying behavioral therapy. Let's break it down. Well, the best practices which are recognized now for preschoolers, kids under 6, the American Academy of Pediatrics says start with behavioral therapy first, not medication. Only if therapy doesn't work or if symptoms are severe should you consider a stimulant like Adderall. But during the late 90s and 2000s, that wasn't happening. Between 2000 and 2003, stimulant use in children under 6 increased by nearly 50%. That's not a typo. 50%. By 2011, over 6.4 million US children had been diagnosed with ADHD, and most of them were put on medication. And the risks? Not minor. Stimulants like Adderall can cause appetite suppression, insomnia, mood swings, and rare but real cardiac risks, especially at higher doses or in kids with undiagnosed heart conditions. Now, fast forward to the pandemic, ADHD diagnosis jumped another 8% between 2020 and 2021, partially due to telehealth and more mental health awareness. But some experts worry this surge reflects easy online access, not just better screening. So today, the guidelines have changed. Preschoolers get therapy first, and school-age kids, medication can help, but only alongside therapy, not as a quick fix. Here's the bottom line. Stimulant meds like Adderall can be a game changer for the right patient, but the field finally admits order matters. Behavioral therapy is step number 1, and medication comes second, only for those who truly need it. Because if we skip the hard work and just hand out pills, we risk trading one problem for another and setting kids up for issues down the line. You know, a lot of kids are home right now from college, and I'm sure parents out there might notice a lot of people are burnt out, tired, sleeping all day, catching up on sleep. And I hate to say it, but some of that might be because you got through the semester hopped up on stimulants. It's an ugly but very real truth. Now let's talk about what really happened when all those kids grew up and brought Adderall with them to college. You see, in the last 20 years, Adderall's reputation made a sharp turn. What started as medication for ADHD became a must-have for all-nighters, final exams, and marathon study sessions. And for many students, Adderall was the unofficial sponsor of college success. No diagnosis needed. The numbers don't lie. Surveys show up to 1 in 5 college students admit to using prescription stimulants without a prescription. And most just to keep up or try to get ahead. But here's the twist. Science doesn't back the hype. Most people without ADHD, they don't actually get smarter or perform better on Adderall. One study published in the journal Science found the so-called cognitive boost for healthy users was tiny at best, and sometimes even made people overconfident, and they ended up doing worse at certain tasks. So why the hype? I think we can blame our productivity-obsessed culture and the endless pressure to outcompete everyone around you. And of course, some students used Adderall to party longer or lose weight, turning a prescription into a party drug. Now, the risks, like I said before, Adderall is a Schedule II controlled substance, right up there with cocaine and meth, which we all recognize as really dangerous drugs. And possession without a prescription, that's a felony in most states. And the side effects, they hit hard. We're talking anxiety, insomnia, heart palpitations, and in rare cases, psychosis. And the dependency is real. For some, what started as a study buddy became a daily crutch. Higher doses, higher risks. And the crash after the buzz can be brutal. We're talking fatigue, depression, brain fog. I want to take a moment and tell you what I saw with my own eyes. You see, back in my college days, Adderall wasn't just a rumor. It was everywhere. I watched classmates, some with legitimate prescriptions, many without, use it to get through every paper, every exam, every deadline. Some started on the lowest dose, just a quick fix for finals, but over the semesters, that quickly turned into a steady routine. I saw people who needed bigger and bigger doses to get the same effect. But it wasn't just about focus. The cost? I'd see friends, bright, social, full of energy, turn into quiet, withdrawn versions of themselves when they weren't on Adderall. On the drug, they could power through work, but off of it, They were drained, almost robotic, just going through the motions. They'd crash hard, struggling to find motivation even for the basics: eating, exercising, just showing up. And I'll be real, I tried Adderall once or twice, but for me, the focus was there, but my creativity was gone. My spark, my sense of humor, my personality, everything was muted. I felt less like myself and more like a machine. That wasn't good. It was enough for me to never want Adderall again. And I started asking myself a question. Is it worth losing who you are just to be more productive? How many people are chasing that next prescription, not realizing what it's really costing them? In the end, I chose to get through college and later graduate school and later medical school and later residency training the all-natural way. I do get a boost every now and again from coffee, but at least all these years later, after a decade plus of education, I'm still me, and I can still be here with you guys as Dr. Dynamo. Those are my thoughts. Now it's time to talk about a truth that rarely gets mentioned outside of medical circles. You see, Adderall and methamphetamine are chemical cousins. The main difference is actually just a single methyl group. Both drugs belong to the amphetamine class. Both ramp up the release of dopamine and norepinephrine in your brain, driving that powerful rush of energy and focus. But here's where things get dark. The same properties that make Adderall effective for ADHD and narcolepsy can make it addictive, especially when misused, in higher doses or without a prescription. Adderall is a Schedule II controlled substance, and that means that the DEA ranks it with meth and cocaine for a reason. Illicit markets have caught on to all this, by the way. Counterfeit Adderall is now flooding the streets, sometimes laced directly with meth or fentanyl, or completely fake ingredients altogether. The FDA actually recently warned about fake Adderall pills found online and in some pharmacies, posing a deadly risk for anyone trying to shortcut the prescription process. The risks are real. Addiction. Users can develop both physical and psychological dependence. Psychosis. High doses or chronic use can cause hallucinations and paranoia, heart attack, and stroke, even in young, otherwise healthy people. And just like meth, the crash after an Adderall binge can leave users exhausted, depressed, and craving another hit. The bottom line, if you're not using Adderall as prescribed, you're playing with fire, risking addiction, overdose, even your life. So, with all the controversy, what's the future of ADHD treatment? And where does Adderall fit in now? Well, the biggest change, prescribers are much less likely to hand out Adderall these days as a first-line fix, especially for kids. Instead, new guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics emphasize behavioral therapy as the starting point, reserving stimulants for when therapy alone isn't enough. And it's not just about therapy. There are new medications that work differently than Adderall, like atomoxetine or Strattera, and guanfacine or Intuniv, which are non-stimulant medications. They're now used more often for kids who can't tolerate stimulants or have other risk factors. And on top of that, digital health tools like smartphone apps and online therapy are helping families track symptoms, reinforce routines, and stay connected with providers. The pandemic actually accelerated some of this innovation, making mental health support more accessible than ever. And let's not forget, the Adderall supply chain has been shaky lately. In 2022 and 2023, the US saw major Adderall shortages, making it harder for even legitimate patients to get their prescriptions filled. The FDA and DEA are now monitoring prescriptions more closely to fight abuse and ensure real patients don't get left behind. The future is about balance, using the right tools for the right patients at the right time. That means therapy first, safer medications when necessary, and careful monitoring to protect both kids and adults from the dangers of misuse. So, here's the bottom line. After all the hype, the headlines, and the horror stories that affected an entire generation, Who actually needs Adderall? Well, the truth is, almost no one. For kids and adults with severe, well-diagnosed ADHD who truly can't function at school, work, or in life without medical support, Adderall and other stimulant meds can be life-changing. When used as prescribed and with careful medical oversight, they're powerful tools for unlocking potential and leveling the playing field. But for everyone else, the students chasing higher grades, the late-night hustlers, the athletes, the party crowd, Adderall isn't a shortcut to success. It's a controlled substance with real risks. And let me tell you, as a doctor, I've done every level of education there is. And I'll tell you right now, it's far better to learn to be successful on your own with safe stimulants like coffee and tea than to screw up your brain with strong medications that'll have lasting impacts on you years and years down the line. The research is clear. For people without true ADHD, the supposed smart drug benefits are tiny. And the dangers from addiction to anxiety to heart problems, they're real. My advice is to respect the power of these meds. Don't trust TikTok or Reddit or that friend who says that it changed their life, or they watched the Limitless movie and this is the real life equivalent. Instead, talk to a real doctor who knows your history, your needs, and your risks. And if you're struggling to focus or worried about dependency, there are safer, proven options. Therapy, lifestyle changes, even new digital tools, without the dangerous trade-offs. At the end of the day, your focus, your health, and your future are worth more than any pill. Don't risk losing yourself just to get ahead. Now, if you've been in an Adderall-induced, locked-in, hyper-focused state and you found this video helpful, then drop a comment below. Let's talk about your experience, your questions, and what topics you want to hear about next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share this video with anyone who needs to hear the truth about Adderall and these study drugs. As always, stay dynamic. Peace.